Okay, so today you are going to look for your distributive property notes. You should have gotten these notes yesterday and you should have put it in your binder. Yesterday we learned about the commutative property, associative property, and the property of identity and the property of inverse, the inverse property. Today we are going to be learning about the distributive property. Now, the distributive property, the word that you can go off of is this word right here, distribute. This word distributive reminds me of the word distribute. So write that down, distribute. Whenever a teacher says, can you go distribute these papers, you're going to make sure that you give a piece of paper to every single person in that classroom. Well, the distributive property kind of works like that too. Okay? So we're going to look at these three people up here, Miguel, Elise, and Francis. It says each student below simplified the expressions as shown. So Miguel, So if we look at Miguel, what did he do first? He did 3 plus 9. Well, 3 plus 9 is 12. And 6 times 12 is 72. Okay, let's go look at Elise. Well, what Elise did is that she did 6 times 3. She added 6 times 9. 18 plus 54 is 72. So let's go look at over here and how it is the same. So remember that I talked about the word distributive and how somebody was passing out the papers and he was making sure that everybody got a piece of paper in the classroom. So the 6 went to the 3. This is what Elise did over here. And then the 6 went to the 9. And this is what Elise did over here. So that 6 is on the outside. And I don't know if you remember, but if there's two numbers sitting right beside each other, if there's like parentheses around something, around a number or a letter or anything like that, that means multiplication. So that says 6 times 3 plus 9. So the 6 is being multiplied to 3, which is what is over here, and the 6 is being multiplied to 9. This is where that plus sign went. Here's the plus sign and here's the plus sign. And they ended up with the same answer. So let's go see what Francis did. Francis did 6 times x plus 6 times 9. It says, if x equals 3, will Francis' solution be the same as b? Yes, it will be. Because if we look at it, that one's saying that if we put a 3 here, will it be the same? Well, yes, because it's the same thing as Elise. 6 times 3 plus 6 times 9. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 54 is 72. So, yes, it's the same. Francis made sure that that 6 was to be multiplied to every single number in there. Okay, so let's go review and talk about the distributive property again. The distributive property allows us to multiply each term. Okay, so before I go and read all that, you don't have to write this down. You just have to pay attention. This is what the distributive property is. If I take a 6 and I'm going to multiply it to everything inside of that, because that right there is grouping. Whatever's happening inside of the parentheses is grouping. So pretend that you're the 6 and you have to go make sure that you hand out that piece of paper to everybody in that classroom. The 6 has to go to the 5 and the 6 has to go to the 6. So 6 times 5 plus, you don't have to write this down, you just pay attention, 6 times 6. That is called the distributive property. So that'll be 30 plus 36 is 66. Okay? That is the distributive property. So let's go back to over here. Let me minimize that. Let's go back to over here. So the distributive property allows us to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses, which is basically true as to what we see here. Can't really see it. But what happened? The distributive property said that I need to make sure that every number inside of the grouping is being multiplied by the number outside. So if we put letters to this, I always use my little arrows. A goes to B and A goes to C. A times B plus A times C. Over here, A goes to B, A goes to C. If you look at that right there, it's different, it's subtraction, but you can still distribute. This is an example of whenever you can't distribute, because I think a lot of the times kids get what's it called? They get mistaken. I'm not going to do it with letters. Let me just go do it with numbers. It'll make it easier to look at. This right here, that 1 is not being multiplied to anything. If you look at that, it says 1 plus 2 plus 3. It doesn't say 1 times. This is the difference. This right here, you're multiplying, so yes, you can distribute there. Yes, you can do this. On this one, you do not distribute. This right here is, you don't have to write that down. This right here is just straight addition. This right here is called your distributive property. Okay, so let me get rid of that before we move on. Be careful with your signs when multiplying integers. Okay, so if we look at this one, it says each of the 4 members of the Robinson family ordered a drink. So it says it's D. 2 slices of pizza. Well, if I want to make sure it's 2 slices, I need to say 2 pizzas and an ice cream cone. So 4 members ordered all that. So 4 people ordered a soda, 4 people ordered 2 pizzas, and 4 people ordered 1 cone. Okay, so put your arrows. Remember, you can only distribute if you're being multiplying outside, and you have to make sure that I'm getting 4 of those things. So I have 4 drinks plus, well, 4 times 2 is 8. I have 8 pizzas plus 4 cones. Okay, so let's look at right here. It says use the area models to distribute. Okay, remember? Well, area models, I don't know if you remember how to find area. You do length times width. Make sure the 5 goes to everything. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times 2 is 10. So the way that it'll look like is 15x plus 10. Okay, let's go do this one over here. 7 times x, 7 times negative 9. Okay, so let me go. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. So there's your answer, 7x minus 63. Subtracting 63 is the same thing as adding a negative, so that's how it looks like, 7x minus 63. Okay, so let's go over here. Remember, you can pause the video whenever you need to. So practice distributing by writing the expression in expanded form and in simplest form. Okay, so let's look right here. Remember, if that 2 is on the outside, and it has to be multiplied to everything on the inside. So, let's see. I draw my arrows to everything inside. 2 is going to be multiplied times x, and the 2 is going to be multiplied to the 6. So it's 2x plus 12. This one right here. The 7 is going to go to everything inside. 7 times 5 plus 7 times p. So 7 times 5 is 35 plus 7p. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is I want you to pause the video. I want you to go try 5 and 6. Please go try 5 and 6 on your own. And then unpause the video, and then I'll show you how it worked out. Okay, so this 8 right here, the 8 has to go to everything inside of there. So it's 8 times 7 minus 8 times g. So it is 8 times 7 is 56 minus 8g. That should have been your answer there. On this one over here, if you notice, well, never mind, that's a 9. I thought it was a Q. The 12 has to go to everything inside. So it's 12 times R minus 12 times 9. So that's 12R minus, I believe that's 108. 108. Okay, I hope you got those correct. Let's try this one. We're going to try this one because this one's a little bit different. The 5 is being multiplied on the outside, and you have to distribute that 5 to everything inside of there. So 5 times 3x plus 5 times 10. Make sure that you're writing that step out, because if you don't write that step out, and you're gonna have a hard time trying to go back to see what you did wrong. That's 15x plus 50. Okay, number 8, 3 goes into everything. The 3 has to go to everything in there. 3 times x plus 3 times 4. 3x plus 12. Twelve goes to 6. 12 goes to 2x. So I'm going to write it out just so I can make sure. Bring that subtraction down. That is 72 minus 24x. Okay, so let's read this one. It says, Mrs. Wenzel wrote 3 problems on the board and asked her students to identify which one was incorrect. Circle the example that has been distributed incorrectly. Well, let me look at it. The 4 went to 12, yes, that's 48. The 4 went to the 15, yes, that's 60. The 6 went to 3, yes, that's 18. The 6 went to the 2, yes, that's 12. 7 went to 9, yes, but right here, 7 times 8, remember, because that's multiplication, 7 times 8 should be 56. So that's the answer. So it's this one right here. Okay, so question number 11 says, which of the following has 2 equivalent expressions? Okay, so right here, what did it do here? Let's look at it. I'm going to zoom in. It said x times 3, and then over here it wants me to, no, I can't do this first, and then I can't go at it, because remember the order of operations, You can't do that. Like, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to multiply here first, but then in the other one I'm going to add first. So that's a no. Let's look at this one. 12 times x plus 3 times x. Well, if I apply the distributive property to this right here, I should get 12 times x plus 12 times 3. So this one's not right. So that's a no. Okay, so C, 12 times x is right here, but look, it didn't do the 12 times 3, so no. Let's look at this one. 12 times x is right here, 12 times 3 is right here, so that is correct. Okay, so something, you don't have to write this down. If you could write it somewhere. Something that you might think of is if you have the letter B, this is a way to remember it. The distributive property, the B has to go to the A and the B has to go to the Y. You have to multiply it. So it's B times A plus B times Y. And if you look at it, it spells baby. Now, this right here is what kids forget to do. They forget to take that B and multiply it to that very last number. That's one of the things that kids always kind of seem to forget. But remember, you have to do it to every, like even if it looks like this. Even if there's 3 numbers in there, you have to take that 3 and multiply it to every single number that's in there. Okay, so in your packet, you have, I don't have a picture of it on here, but you have a paper that says, let me look for it, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. You have a paper that says Lesson 7, the distributive property. That's what I want you to go work on. It has, I think it has 7 through 11. It should be exactly like how we did on the notes. Just make sure that it says Lesson 7, because I know you have 2 papers in there. One says Lesson 7 and the other one says, it has like letters in the middle somewhere. Not that one. You're doing the one that has Lesson 7. So that is the one that you're going to have to work on.